Good morning, everybody. Pirate Prepper here. Little housekeeping getaway first. Live without a mask. So, I am the Pirate Prepper. My name is Michael. How's that for scary? Today's going to be a bit of a rant, a bit of a ramble, a lot of different things. Hey, I even have notes today, at least for a couple of things, just to keep me on track or farther off track, depending how you look at it. So, it's been a while since I've been on putting a video out because, quite honestly, things have been happening and, well, happening fast, and by the time I get to them, they're not timely anymore, and I don't care about being timely anyway. So, let's look at this current situation and what's happening not just in the U.S., but around the world, and be honest about it to ourselves. All right, first things first. Food shortages and food price increases. Over the last month or so, NBC, Yahoo News, and several other sources, mainstream media, have actually pointed out that food prices are going up. Most of us notice it's the grocery, but hey, it is the news. So, looking at it from the standpoint of things are going up, anywhere from the governmentally supplied number of 0.6%, 0.6, which means over a month, means that you're looking at a 7+% increase over a year. Well, okay. Other economists have already pointed out we're probably at 12% already, potentially. And another economist has already said we're probably looking at a 40 to 50% increase within a couple of years on a lot of items. So if you can stockpile some things now while we have a chance, while the prices are still reasonable, yes, you're spending money. But at the same time, you're saving money, because essentially you've bought things at sale prices. So, something to think about there. Food shortages. Last year's orange crop was devastated by cold, so a lot of things that have orange oil in them this year are much higher priced. One cleaning solution I use where I'm employed, the price was about 35% up versus what we purchased the item at a year ago. Not good. Next year, hard to tell. We'll see what the orange crop does. So, look at the seed shortages. Look at what the farmers are saying. Look at what happened with the derecho in Iowa. Look at all the wheat problems, potatoes, etc., 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 ad nauseum. Go back and look at the news. Look at the various governmental departments, yes, those things, at their results for crop failures and harvest numbers, and compare the original guesstimations to the actual numbers at the end that they plugged in when nobody was looking, if those are correct. You might be kind of scared. What would I be looking at in that case? Well, what items can you not get for yourself? Where I live, meat is walking around down the hoof. Not just cows, but deer, elk, antelope, moose. All right, I can get meat. Living where I do, though, we're still having winter. Guess what? Stuff doesn't grow in winter. So, garden, not so much. Sugar, well, I can't grow sugar cane or sugar beets here to speak of, so I probably better put some sugar back. Salt, same concept. No ocean nearby. Look at your staples. Look at the things that are going to tide you over through times of shortages. Look at what our grandparents and great-grandparents stockpiled or bought a lot of during the Great Depression. Pastas, flour. Why? They baked. They made a lot of spaghetti. they made a lot of filling foods that were fairly inexpensive. Something we might need to look at again, depending on how the shortages go and what is on the shortage list. All right, so with the economy doing what it's doing right now, we're already seeing shrinkflation. What's that? Oh, that one took me a while to figure out when I was younger. Anybody old enough to remember 1 pound bags of frozen vegetables? Now that they're 12 ounces for the same price? Shrinkflation. The cost went up 25%. You just didn't know it. You're getting less for your dollar. With the economy and all these stimulus checks, wonderful. We are putting more and more money into circulation as such. We're increasing the number of dollars out there for the amount of available goods, which means your dollar buys less because the dollar is being devalued with every decimal point, with every zero. Your $100,000 house was a $100,000 house. Now it's a $90,000 or an $80,000 or a $70,000. Depends the day. Depends on how far down this rabbit hole we go. But I would be planning ahead for some economic hard times. Could I be wrong? Yeah. Is it possible? Not likely. But right now, I would be seriously looking at paying off credit cards, paying off that car. If you got an expensive car that you don't really need, sell it. Pay it off. You got something big you don't need anymore. All the kids are out of the house. You don't need that big SUV. Hey, get a small pickup. You still probably want to haul stuff around, move stuff around the garden, things like that. Hey, downsize. Nothing wrong with that. Keeping up with the Joneses, the neighbors, don't worry about it. He bought a new boat, so what? He's got to pay it off. The bank's not going to come to your door looking for his boat. Economy right now is a key factor for us all to be looking at. Yes, I said economy, not economics. Don't use as much. Don't waste. The old RRR, reduce, reuse, recycle. Well, you're reducing your expenditure, your waste, your expenditure of items. If you don't use a handful of shampoo to wash your hair, guess what? Reduce your need. Reduce your use. That bottle lasts longer. Reuse things. Yeah, twist ties are funny thing. Remember your grandparents had a whole pile of them in the drawer? You never knew what for? Well, tying up houseplants, tying up garden plants to a stick to help them survive the wind, to help them grow in the right direction. Hanging up hunks of wire and extension cords. It's a surprising number of uses when you actually come down to it. That's why your grandparents saved that stuff. They'd hook a string from the package, back when packages were actually tied with string. Same thing, a lot of different small uses. That junk drawer your grandparents had made a lot of sense. Makes sense again. Recycle. I'm not going to go into the typical green version of recycle because it doesn't quite apply here. When I talk recycling, I mean that beer bottle. You had a can opener on, bottle opener, get that cap off. You can refill that over and over and over again. Wash it, Put new beer in it. Start over. You'll break one occasionally, but guess what? You get a lot of uses out of a bottle. Old pans, old pots, cast iron especially. Ooh, it's rusty. So what? Clean it up, re-season it, put it back in use. There's a lot of cast iron pots and pans I've had over the years that I've happily recycled and reused. So, all right. Now the fun stuff's out of the way. Sarcasm. Politically lately, we've been dealing with items and issues that have been crammed down our throats. Peaceful protests, riots, demands from people. From those peaceful protesters or rioters. From government. Mandates, orders, actions. This is a republic, not a democracy. The individual is the most important person. No one can take from you what you allow them, what you don't allow them. Thanks. This country was founded on making sure the individual had their right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And if my happiness in my garden, fishing, whatever, upsets you, too bad. And that's government's position, is to protect my right, not to make me wear a mask, not to make me be something they want me to be. A toady, a toe licker. Someone's going to blindly follow their mandates and requests. If you're one of those people, great, have fun. Don't expect me to make a lot of positive comments about you either, though. People are making demands. Demands of you and I. They're demanding reparations. I haven't done anything. My parents didn't do anything. My grandparents didn't do anything. My great-grandparents didn't do anything that would cause reparations. Heck, actually, I can't tell you how many times back it is at this point. Some of my family fought to free the slaves. Why should I pay reparations? Oh, your political party's bad. You must pay reparations. My political party, not that it matters, was the one that signed the Civil Rights Bill back in the 60s. Wait, the Democrats didn't sign the Civil Rights Bill? No, they were the ones fighting it. Imagine that. The Jim Crow laws everybody's all up in arms about right now. Making accusations about Jim Crow this, Jim Crow that. Guess who put the Jim Crow laws into effect? Wasn't the Republicans. Sorry. Who tried to keep them in place? Wasn't Republicans. So take a look around. Look at what people are really saying. Their accusations, generally about stuff they're doing and they've been caught doing. So at that point, the best thing they can do is accuse somebody else of it. Ooh, racism. I believe some of Joe Biden's comments from the late 70s, early 80s are very telling about where he wanted his kids to go to school and what kind of kids he didn't want in school with his kids. On the other hand, imagine how his kids might have turned out. I mean, one of them might not have smoked Parmesan cheese if they'd had some other influences. I don't know where you live. You're on your own. The police are busy and hate it. So you better figure out a way and a means to defend yourself, to defend your rights, to defend your life. Comments are made. You must place a lot of value on what you own if you're willing to kill somebody to keep it. No. But that person breaking into my house has placed more value on those items than on their own life. Something to think about. Someone has chosen to hurt you. Someone has chosen to go out of their way to steal your stuff, to hurt you. And now, thanks to people like Kamala Harris, bailing out protesters, bailing out violent offenders, bailing out people who should be prosecuted and aren't, we're getting to a point where the individual is going to have to step up, is going to have to take that stand, that line in the sand that nobody wants to cross is going to have to be drawn. So in later videos, I'll get to some more technical aspects of firearms, their use, and some quick and dirty lessons with them and about them. Most of them are fairly simple. Most of them are, very basic. Why? Because that's all you need. I don't need to know how to operate like a SEAL. I need to know how to make something go bang every time. Good enough. So, well, enough of my rambling, enough of my ugly face in your faces. Hopefully you'll all stay on watching this channel now that I'm back and my Shatner-esque pauses. Let's get beyond all this together. Let's all get to a place where we are safe. The world's going to burn on its own. What can we do to protect us and ours? The world, Russia, Ukraine, what's going on there, it will affect us. China has affected us for a year and a half now, intended or not. Iran, Iraq, Israel, that whole area, it's going to affect us. Pick a problem spot in the world. Look at Article 5 in the UN resolutions. That'll make you a little nervous. Look at what's going on. Make your decisions and realize that having some stuff put back is probably not a bad idea. You might even want to put more back at that point. But I would be starting now if I hadn't already. Your next Walmart run, pick your grocery, pick your big box store, I don't care. pick up 10, 12 tubes of toothpaste. Doesn't have to be the $5.95 Crest or Colgate high-end stuff. That dollar tube of AIM on the bottom shelf works too. Pick up some more toothbrushes. Pick up a year's worth. You're going to figure, hey, swap them out once a month, especially the cheap ones. Looky there, we just spent $20. And you got your at least part of your mouth hygiene covered for a year. And you fill the shoebox. Next crisis. Look where we were a year ago in cleaning supplies. Paper goods. Hey, toilet paper's on the shelf again. I'm not saying you have to have a year's supply, but more than 3 rolls on the shelf is probably a good idea. Again, food crisis coming. Food prices, cleaning products prices, toilet paper prices, everything's going up. Buying it now while it's cheaper. It's a savings account of sorts. So, well, if you've enjoyed this rant, I'm sorry. If you haven't enjoyed this rant and rambling, sorry. We're all in this together. We need to keep going. We need to keep moving. The closer we are to being prepared, the less of a burden we are to our family, the less of a burden we are to our neighbors, to others. Yeah. Keep prepping. Fire Prepper out.